There, you are welcome. U.S. President Donald Trump threw a curveball at China by linking the fentanyl issue to his tariffs on imports. The Chinese government is swinging back. First, it issued a report detailing its efforts to control the illegal trade in fentanyl, specifically the ingredients for the opioid that are made in China. Then, the Chinese foreign minister blasted the U.S. for responding to Beijing's goodwill with tariffs. And this week, Chinese officials expressed their indignation at a rare background briefing with journalists. In the spirit of humanity, China assisted the U.S. in various ways. Foreign Minister Wang Yi told journalists last week in an annual appearance before the media, the U.S. should not meet good with evil or even impose arbitrary tariffs. No responsible major country should do that. Trump cited the fentanyl issue as the reason for imposing a 10% tariff on all Chinese imports in early February, on top of any existing duties. He doubled that to 20% earlier this month. He also has cited fentanyl, along with other reasons, for imposing tariffs on Canada and Mexico. Let's take a look at what Trump is saying. In his executive order on the first 10% tariff, Trump accused China of subsidizing chemical companies to export fentanyl and related precursor chemicals, and of providing a safe haven for Chinese criminal organizations that launder the revenues from the opioid trade. It's not unusual for the Chinese government to subsidize industries, and the precursor chemicals are also used to make legal painkillers. But some of the production finds its way to Mexican drug cartels, who make fentanyl and send it to the United States. Despite multiple attempts to resolve this crisis at its root source through bilateral dialogue, PRC officials have failed to follow through with the decisive actions needed to stem the flow of precursor chemicals to known criminal cartels, the statement said, referring to China by the acronym for the People's Republic of China, its official name. It's not just Trump that's got something to say. China certainly had a response. The Chinese government hit back both times Trump imposed tariffs with its own duties on selected U.S. products and other measures aimed at American companies. Analysts have described the response as a measured one, designed to try to avoid an escalation of the trade war, which could deal a blow to an already sluggish Chinese economy. The government's report on its fentanyl-related actions said that China and the U.S. have held multiple high-level meetings since early last year to promote cooperation, and that its Narcotics Control Bureau holds regular exchanges with the U.S. Drug Enforcement Agency. China is committed to cooperation, the report said, but firmly opposes the U.S. imposition of unlawful sanctions and unreasonable pressure on China on the pretext of responding to fentanyl-related issues. Note that under former President Joe Biden, cooperation on fentanyl was relaunched in early 2024 after falling victim to geopolitics in 2022. In August of that year, a visit to Taiwan by a top U.S. legislator, then House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, angered China, and the government responded by cutting off talks on a range of issues including drug control. A rapprochement in late 2023, negotiated over several months, led to a meeting on fentanyl in January of last year. Drug enforcement, like climate, was held up as an area where the two countries could cooperate despite growing differences and their military, economic, and technological competition. Now Trump, back in the White House after a 4-year hiatus, is trying to shift the playing field in the U.S.-China relationship. So far, China has indicated it won't blink. If the American side goes further down this wrong path, we will fight to the end, Commerce Minister Wang Yi said last week. For 8 decades, the democracies had mostly stood by the U.S. despite occasional major quarrels, such as the Suez Crisis in 1956 or the invasion of Iraq in 2003. The solidarity of the democratic West helped it win the Cold War and reshape the world afterwards. Chinese diplomatic efforts to get European countries to split with the U.S. after Trump first put forth his Ukraine plan had no effect. For China to successfully transform the UN system, it must convincingly demonstrate that the existing international framework is fundamentally flawed and requires a complete overhaul. This effort would need to be backed by a superior and more equitable blueprint that appeals to nations worldwide. Despite significant efforts in the Global South, including the massive investment of resources through the Belt and Road Initiative, China has only made limited progress in reshaping the global order. The lack of widespread trust in China's intentions and concerns over its authoritarian governance model have hindered its ability to lead a true transformation of international institutions. However, recent geopolitical developments have unexpectedly played into China's hands. By recently pushing Ukraine into peace talks, dismissively pressuring European nations, and largely accepting Russia's terms for ending the war, former U.S. President Donald Trump has fundamentally altered U.S. relations with its allies. This shift has created a vacuum of leadership that Beijing seeks to exploit. Trump's actions have forced NATO allies to question the reliability of the United States as a security partner. His rhetoric and policies, which threatened the sovereignty of long-standing allies like Canada and Denmark, have eroded trust in American leadership. Rather than embodying the ideals of democracy and cooperation, the U.S. under Trump appeared to prioritize self-interest and isolationism. This transformation from a shining city on a hill to a nation driven by narrow, transactional interests has given China an opportunity to challenge U.S. dominance on the global stage. Moreover, Trump's approach has allowed Beijing to accuse the U.S. of hypocrisy. China can now argue that the liberal international order, which Washington once championed, is merely a tool for American hegemony and not a system designed for global fairness and justice. This narrative aligns perfectly with Chinese President Xi Jinping's long-term strategy to position China as a leader of a more just and balanced global system, one that purportedly respects the sovereignty of all nations and prioritizes development over intervention. However, while China may benefit from the erosion of U.S. credibility, it faces significant challenges in building an alternative global order. Many countries remain wary of China's rising influence and fear becoming economically dependent on Beijing. Additionally, the lack of democratic values and transparency within the Chinese political system raises doubts about its ability to lead a fair and inclusive international system. In conclusion, while Trump's foreign policy moves have inadvertently strengthened China's narrative against the U.S.-led world order, Beijing still faces an uphill battle in convincing the world that it can offer a better alternative. The true test lies not in rhetoric, but in China's ability to foster genuine partnerships, respect international norms, and promote global stability without resorting to coercion. And that's it for today, guys. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. Do you think China can successfully challenge the US-led world order? Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. Goodbye for now.